Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 103 of the Michael Pena Sr. Show here, December 11th, 2018. I'm your host, Michael Pena Sr. This show is to help you grow your wealth, live debt free, so you can live and give like no one else. Hey, listen, I just want to make sure that you follow me at podbean.com. I break down different individual stocks and also other investment opportunities on podbean.com. My latest show was on Starbucks. So if you haven't already checked out those shows, check that out. Okay. Take a look at podbean.com. Good information. And go to Peanut Financial Coaching. I'm continuously putting up educational things on there, and I want you to take a look at that. Okay. Today, we got kind of a different kind of episode, but it's something that touches a lot of my community here at Peanut Financial Coaching. So we're going to start with a quote from Carmen C. Rice. And you Mount Ida people might know who this is. Did we go out and announce, hello, interested students, we're teetering on the brink of insolvency, but come on in? No, we did not do that. And, this is the complaint that's been put forth by the Mount Ida students. I have the whole thing here. I've highlighted a lot of parts. We're going to talk a little bit about this. And, it's very interesting to me. This was sent to me by, this is all public knowledge. This was sent to me by Tom B., who is his mom was a teacher at Mount Ida, and he grew up a lot on the Mount Ida campus, so he has a lot to do with Mount Ida. And again, just to review, if it's a lot of my new community people out there, my new people don't understand maybe, Mount Ida abruptly shut their doors in May of 2017, being $77 million in debt. And these are the affected students. They are now suing Mount Ida College. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. I'm just going to start out with the introduction because I found it pretty interesting. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's way too much. But I am going to review some of it and maybe say a little bit about my opinion and what I think. Without notice to its students, population, and their families, defendant, Mount Ida College, abruptly closed its doors in May of 2018. The fallout was catastrophic. Among numerous consequences, students were faced with finding an alternative institution to meet their educational goals to which to transfer. A daunting task, given the transfer deadlines for most institutions had passed or were imminent. Many students were left with degree programs that were discontinued or credits that could not be transferred, and many students lost their scholarships and other forms of financial aid. This could have been avoided. Yet, by closing abruptly, Mount Ida denied its students the opportunity to continue with its bargain for education, and their actions prevented some students from enrolling in other institutions of higher education or pursuing their intended degrees altogether. And yeah, that's the biggest crux of all this. I mean, I'm close with a lot of the students because, I play flag football still. We had a tournament this past weekend, and a lot of the ex-Mount Ida kids were with me, and they were telling me how they have to, Buddy, love Buddy. And he was a defensive end with Mount Ida, and he went to Nichols with my son. He was telling me he's got to take something like 9 classes next semester in order to graduate on time, because a lot of the stuff from Mount Ida didn't transfer, and also there are certain requirements from each college that you have to do and take, and Nichols has a lot of that. So he said, I'm just going to have no life, and I'm just going to get this done because I want to graduate on time. And it's terrible. It's a tough situation, and all the students are going through it. And as you know, my son was the quarterback at Mount Ida, was at Mount Ida, And, we've faced a lot of the different situations and difficulties that they're talking about. It was tough looking for schools and going through this. And now these kids have a class action suit that they're suing Mount Ida. And I saw on one page that it was over $5 million. And I went to a back page and they're saying that it's an estimated $40 million. Well, the question I have is where's this money going to come from? You're talking about a school that had to sell because they were in debt $77 million. And they sold to UMass Amherst. And it's unfortunate you go through the whole thing and there was 100% definite knowledge as of 2014 that Mount Ida knew that they were in trouble. They and they didn't disclose any of this information to the students. It says right here, as early as 2014, Mount Ida was in financial distress and teetering on insolvency. The defendants feared that it would be left with no choice but to file for bankruptcy. That was in 2014. So as early as 2014, defendants knew that Mount Ida was in financial distress and teetering on insolvency. Since as early as 2014, defendants failed to inform its students and prospective students of Mount Ida's financial distress and impending insolvency. And, I don't know why they hid this from the students. I mean, they should have hired a financial coach or somebody. Maybe they did and they got horrendous advice. Because I told my son, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, if they hired me in 2014, I hate to tell you the first thing that I would have cut would have been the sports program. Millions and millions of dollars it goes to because I mean you're going bankrupt. These kids, the football team, were traveling to friggin' Maine and to Vermont and it's not just the football team, it was all the sports programs. And that would have been the first thing I would have done, and that would have allowed everybody to know, yeah, we're in financial trouble. So guess what? We're gonna have a huge cut. We have to do this to save our other programs that other colleges don't offer. But what that would have done would have given other kids and other students the opportunity to transfer, the opportunity to know. My son would have never gone to Mount Ida because they wouldn't have had a football team. I would have had to cut the football team. I would have had to cut I would have just gone in and cut the sports program because you got to look at what your biggest expenses are. I tell you that every day on this show. If you do your budget the right way, you're looking at what's coming in and what's going out. Sometimes the biggest thing going out, you need to cut. Okay, so a lot of times it could be for us, it could be our expenses on a vehicle, or it could be the expenses on a home, it could be expenses, whatever the big expense is, you got to figure a way to cut it. And unfortunately speaking, in these Division III schools, the biggest expenses that they have are usually the sports programs. So unfortunately, that would have been the first thing I did in 2014. I would have said we would have been putting the sports programs on hold until further notice. So I wouldn't have said it was cut, but I would have said that we're in financial problems and we got to make cuts. And this is where it's starting because that's our biggest expense. Until we got more money coming in. If somebody stepped up, an alumnus stepped up and said, what does it cost of the sports program and wanted to pay for it, that would have kept it going. But nobody knew. They didn't have the chance for the alumni to come through and help them. They didn't have a chance for anybody to, help them with the problem because they didn't disclose it. There maybe would have been somebody that would have stepped up. I don't know. Gary Vaynerchuk graduated from Mount Ida. What if he helped? I don't know. Gary V talks about college as if he didn't need it and he just did it for something to do to please his parents. So, I don't know. And I'm wondering where this money's going to come from. And of course, the President Brown, I always say that shit rolls downhill. And if it was being hidden, it was a decision that was made from the top. And the Board of Trustees, along with Barry Brown, who's the president, was 100% behind not, disclosing this. And if you Mount Ida students out there, You want your voice to be heard? Send a letter to the Mount Ida Board of Trustees and its governing body at Mount Ida College, at the office, at 124 Washington Street, Foxborough, Massachusetts, 02035. Send a letter to them in disgust. Because, that's what this is. It's a disgusting thing that's happening here. These kids want something, would it be great, especially myself as a parent, to maybe have them pay for the remainder of their education or something? Yeah, but I don't know where the money's coming from. That's what I'm wondering. I go through this whole thing and I see the different counts, violation of Privacy Act, fraud, negligent misrepresentation. These are the counts: fraud and inducement. And I understand all this. Breach of fiduciary duty, breach of contract. And I get that. I get what these students want to get out of this. But where is the money coming from? The plaintiffs and the members of the class pray that the judgment be entered against the defendants in an amount that will fairly and adequately compensate them for their damages and such other relief as the honorable court may deem appropriate. Well, you know what they're going to... And I hope this don't happen. This is just my opinion right now. We're going to follow this. I'll put this in Pina Financial News so that we can follow the rest of this. But they're going to say that they went bankrupt. So they're going to award each student like $1 or something. Just to say, you're right. They should have done this and they should have said that. But I don't know where the financial compensation is going to come from. And that's what I'm going to find that's going to be interesting. The plaintiffs and the class demand judgment against the defendants, statutory and treble damages as allowed by law, together with interest and costs therein. I don't know if there'll be jail time for some of these people. I don't know. But I hope that something comes out of this. But it's almost like, it's too late, in my opinion. And I hope I'm wrong. I got a student, and I love all the students from Mount Ida. I love the alumnus. I love Tom B. Everybody. All I can do is give you my honest opinion after reading through this. I went to the hearing, and everything. And I just, if somebody could tell me where the money's going to come from, then maybe you're going to get something. But other than that, unless the state of Massachusetts steps up and says, you know what, we're going to award each kid 1 year free of college. I don't know. But we're going to put that in Pina and Financial News, and that's what we're going to come up with next. So, let me know what you guys think of Mount Ida. First thing, Pina Financial News. Okay, our next segment here. UPS, what's going on with the negotiations with the contract? I got no idea. I'm going to try to do some investigating myself, and I'm going to try to find out what's going on with the UPS contract, because I think just with peak being here and Christmas around the corner, I think they put things on ice until January of 2019. We're going to find out. Hoffa to me is still a sellout. I don't know what's going on. I feel like the union is just as weak as can be, and I hate to say it. We need some strength within the union. We need some new leadership. Because like I said about everything, shit runs downhill. And when your union's weak and your leadership's weak, the bottom line is the whole body is weak. So we're going to follow that and find out what's going on with that. Here's an interesting in Pina Financial News. Lance Armstrong. I don't know if anybody's heard about this, but sometimes being in the right place at the right time and just having the right friends can earn you some money. It was first reported that Lance Armstrong was going to be a billionaire. Why? Because in 2009, he helped out a friend and his investment firm. And that friend happened to be Chris Sacca. And the investment he was putting money into happened to be Uber. He gave him $100,000 to help him with his investment firm. Uber is going public. They're saying that it's going to be a record IPO. That's initial public offering. All right. I'm not buying any Uber, just to let you know. But the initial public offering is going to be a record-breaking number, they're saying. Lance Armstrong, who lent his friend $100,000 back in 2009, said he forgot about it until Chris Sacca called him up and told him, you're going to have some money coming your way. And now it's estimated he's not going to be a billionaire, but his $100,000 is going to be 250 to 300 times what he put in. And that's estimating that he's going to be worth $20 to $30 million just from Uber. Sometimes doing the right thing by the right people can get you something in the future. Listen, myself and my son Michael Jr. will be coaching at Elite Football Academy, which starts January 13th. The winter sessions, January 13th. Go on EFA.com and sign your football player up there. Listen, you want a side hustle? You want to start officiating sports? That's my biggest side hustle, officiating sports. Baseball umpires out there. That's the first thing coming up. January 3rd will be the first class at Brockton High School. January 3rd at 7 p.m., Brockton High School. That's the SMUA, Southeastern Massachusetts Umpires Association. Become an umpire, all right? And listen, always like my page at Peanut Financial Coaching. Download podbean.com for free. Follow me there. And listen, do these things. Let's get these things. Comment, like it, subscribe. Hit the bell so you know when my shows are coming out. I hope I got some stuff for you that you can learn by. Because you know what I say. I want to win. I want to help you win. Let's win together.